think I was going mad probably, and very sick, But sometimes I was well. It was on and off. Sometimes very well, sometimes not off at all. Of course, meeting Mother is the greatest day of my life. It's something for which still today I'm very thankful to God to have that chance to meet Shri Mataji, and also the chance to somehow understand who she is on that meeting. Otherwise, I could have lost everything, because Shri Mataji was going to go away the next day, so time was short, So I think Shri Mataji and God made it easy for me. It had to be such that I had to understand it there and then. So there was a certain preparation before meeting Mother. Once I was on a motorbike and had a head-on collision and with the car. The moment the motorbike hit the car, of course my body is up in the air. During that time I was up in the air. I knew I was going to die. And in that split second I saw my whole life, since birth, since I was born, something one cannot remember when you are a baby, up to that day. Then I saw my own funeral. I saw my parents, weeping over my body. Each and every person I have met in my whole life was there to see. And an angel up in the air who told me, what a big waste of a life, and a life which really had a purpose, so it's really wrong, And the next thing I hear, a big bang. This was the bang of my helmet on top of the bonnet of the car. And then I fell on the floor, not a scratch, nothing, Very strange feeling, So how can someone see his whole life from beginning to end, including my own funeral, in less than a split of a second? So that was like an awakening experience. Then one day I was in bed at 4 a.m. My parents arrive home, they wake me up, and they show me a glance of the picture of Shri Mataji. They say, look at what we have found, And I said, wow, I went to sleep. In those days, of course, because I was very ill, I was always praying to Christ to send the dove of the Holy Ghost to land on top of my head. That's something I was always praying for, and because I knew I needed divine salvation. There was no way I could get out of that situation. But even though I prayed and prayed and prayed, nothing happens, as you probably know from experience, isn't it? But that night, after seeing a glance of Shri Mataji, I don't know why, when I woke up, there was a voice in my head, and I just knew this is the voice of Christ, but not for sure. I wasn't sure. And the words were, I was hungry and you didn't give me any food. I was naked and you gave me no clothes. I was ill, you didn't come to see me. I was in jail and you didn't come to see me either. Those words kept coming in my mind, very loud, and I knew, oh my goodness, these are the words of Christ, of course. Then I realized, yes, of course, you see, my cousin was in jail, and I had refused to go and see him in jail for 2 years, He was my age, but he had done some drug offenses, and I said, no way, I'm not going to visit him, And then I realized, my goodness, what a selfish person I am, not minding the fact I'm hurting my parents, my aunt, my cousin. I just don't care for other people. All I care is for myself. I'm really the most selfish, absurd person. So luckily I had this thought, I want to go and see my cousin in jail at last. My parents said, my God, what happened to you? Did you have an epiphany? We've been telling you this for 2 years. What is this? Well, I don't know. I have to go and see him today. That was my luck, because I went to see my cousin in jail that day for the first time, and on the way back, my parents went to see Shri Mataji again, so I was with them. That was my chance at last to see Shri Mataji. However, my girlfriend was atheist and a communist, and she refused to go. And Shri Mataji was staying in a place where you had to go up many stone steps. I don't know what came to me. I said, okay, you have to go. That's it. So I forced her up the steps, really by force. It was hurting her arm, I dragged her up all the way. So she had to come as well. So we arrived there. It was sitting on a small room. This is like an old castle, that place, very ancient building. And that room has no windows, where they told us to wait for Mother. And to go into the room, you have to go down some little steps of stone. And the door is so small, like in the ancient buildings, that to go inside you have to little bit, bend down, at least for my height, to go inside that room, down the steps. Once you are in the room, it's like a cell. You cannot get out of there. And we were waiting there for Shri Mataji. Shri Mataji was having a siesta, and all my family with me there in that room. Then I saw some people passing through. These were people, I know those guys, they were Saj Yogis, but I had met them in other false gurus, I didn't believe I would come to a place like this to meet these guys, I jumped out of that room and went after them, As I went after them, I saw a lady coming out of the room, totally disheveled, the sari was not, Mother just came out of siesta, you see. And some mother from a distance, and had the glance of Mother and had the same motorbike experience. Instead of seeing my whole life, present life, I saw all the past lives and could see that Shri Mataji had been my personal mother all my lives. That's what that vision gave. So there you are. Mother made it very easy for me to know that she's the mother of the universe. I knew I had met Christ at last. That's what I wanted. It was an emergency because Mother was going away the next day. But then Mother came to the room, that little room where we were standing with my family. And then Shri Mataji arrived at the room. She looked, and I was back there in the room, sitting there next to my parents and my girlfriend, Who is that? The first thing Shri Mataji said was, pointing at that girl, my girlfriend, who is that woman? What is she doing here? I lost my tongue. And Shri Mataji looked at me. You can translate. She knew that I knew English, I had been studying English for 2 years, I was really amazed. My goodness, she even knows that, I said, who is that woman? What she's doing here? I said, it's my I couldn't find the word, and I said, my girlfriend. My what? My girlfriend, girlfriend? No, I don't know girlfriend. That doesn't exist. I said, girlfriend, girlfriend? No, it's indecent, it's absurd, it's obscene, Then I asked him, do you really love her? Big silence, I couldn't say I did because I didn't, you see. How Mother knew everything. If you don't love her, then stop it, This is indecent, it's very gross, it's appalling, That was the introduction, And then she went to work on my relatives who also had diseases, She came again, come on, you translate. So I moved next to Mother to translate. Then Mother gave realization, and after realization, Mother decided to work on each and every person, and people made a queue. I was in a rush to go and be treated by Mother. So every time my turn came, Mother said, sir, go to the back of the queue. And I went to the back of the queue. Then I lost patience and I started jumping the queue. I appeared again. Sir, go to the back of the queue. 2 or 3 times Mother said me to the back of the queue. At last there was no one left, only me, Then Mother worked on me. And I was so ill that I think I can't measure time in those situations, but Mother must have worked on me 40 minutes or so it was serious. So that's why I had to be the last one, otherwise the people on the queue would have to wait so long. So at the end of those 40 minutes, suddenly, without telling me, Shri Mataji did this, a neck crick, and boom, and twisted my neck to one side, and boom, big noise in the spine. That was incredible. And then suddenly, bang, cricked the head, opposite direction. Then, without telling me, she picked up from her handbag a thing called Netranjan. I don't know how to say it properly. It's a kind of very strong eye medicine, and she put a massive amount on each eye. At that moment, I went blind. Totally blind. But it was so blissful that I said, I don't mind. I like it. This is fantastic. And that was the strongest, experience of self-realization I cannot describe, Even though I was blind. Most people, were blind, now they can see well. I could see, now I'm blind. But it was absolutely a tremendous experience. And this by now was about 2 a.m. Shri Mataji said, I'm going to go tomorrow to Spain, So if you want to see me very, very first thing in the morning before I go to take the flight, you can come and see me. I said, fine, I'll come, of course. It was already 2 a.m., what time shall I come? Shri Mataji said, very early, early morning, please come, and I'll see you before going. I said, yes, early, but exactly what hour? Shri Mataji says, well, early, just come early. I said, yes, I understand, but exactly what hour, please? And Shri Mataji would tell me the exact hour to come, like an appointment, you know. I thought, this is very strange. So I said, well, you see, I don't want to come so early to wake you up or disturb you, you know. What time do you get up? I asked Mother. Mother said, I get up at 4 a.m. So when shall I come? After you get up? Yes. So I said, that means 4 a.m., isn't it? Yes. So I came at 4 a.m., you see, except I didn't manage to make it at 4 a.m. My motorbike broke down, you know, ran out of petrol, so I had to run all the way to try and reach there at 4 a.m. I arrived at 5 a.m. pouring in sweat, you know. So I banged on the door and banged, you know. Then Maria Amelia came and opened the door, dressed in her pajamas, 5 a.m. What happened to you, you know? I was in sweat, was pouring, my suit was totally drenched. I had run for an hour to be on time. I was 1 hour late. In fact, I'm very late to see Mother. It's 5 a.m. I'm here now. Tell her that I've just arrived. And she said, you see, you need to meditate. Just sit down, you know. And okay, so how do I meditate? Very simple. You see that photograph there? You just look at it. I said, I was really offended. I came here to see the lady herself and you are giving me her photograph, you know. Is this what you call meditation? She said, try it, you know, try it, you know. Well, I tried it, you know. And that really was a very special meditation, even without Mother in person. About, I must have stayed 1 hour in meditation, then I got up. I didn't know what to do, so I cooked Mother breakfast. And I cooked all the wrong diet, of course, because Shri Mataji was on a special diet. Everything I cooked was wrong, you know. So Maria Amelia said, you know, I'm sorry, but you better eat it. I said, no way. Give it to her and tell her this is a Portuguese breakfast. She might like it, you know. So Maria Amelia said, all right, fair enough, you know. She took the breakfast to Maria Amelia, to Shri Mataji. And Shri Mataji ate the whole breakfast, the Portuguese breakfast, you know, even though it was not at all her diet, you know. So that was also a special moment. Then at last Shri Mataji met me, you know, and she said, so now can you feel the vibrations? Because I had been meditating. And I said, no. So Shri Mataji, sitting from a distance of about 3 meters, she said, all right, what about now? Can you feel the vibrations? And she was throwing the vibrations at me. My God, that was like a cool breeze and a big wind, you know. And I said, no. And then she started blowing it. Every time she blew it, it was like having a bath, you know. Can you feel the vibrations now? I said, no. By then Maria Amelia was getting very irritated. Come on, what's wrong with you, you know? And Mother kept, all right, let's try again. She again blew the vibrations. Can you feel the vibrations? And I said, no. Of course I was feeling it, and Mother said, I know you can feel it. And I said, it's not vibrating, you know. I'm waiting for it to actually vibrate and shake, you know. And I said, oh, I see, it's a translation problem. The word vibration in Portuguese, you know, you expect it to vibrate. You know. So when I admitted, yes, I can feel the vibrations, then Mother said, in that case, you can come with me to the airport. We'll take you in my car. You can come in my car. So great, I'll come to the airport with Mother. As Mother entered the car, everybody got in the car, and then I was just getting inside the car, and the dog gets inside and takes my place. Sits next to Mother, big dog, hey, really, like this. That's where I was supposed to sit, next to Mother. And Shri Mataji picks the dog by the collar and starts pushing the dog out of the car. And the dog went really at Mother's hand, you know. And Mother pushed again the dog, and the dog. And then she looked at me, well, Luis, you see, I tried. I did my best. The thing is that she also recognized me, this dog. There's nothing I can do, you know. Why don't you take the bus, you know? So I went to the bus. I arrived at the bus. I didn't have any money. And my motorbike ran out of petrol, you see, miles away. I really felt stupid here, waiting for the bus without any money to go to the airport, you know. But that's what Mother told me to do, you know. Suddenly comes another Saj Yogi, you know, I knew them. Oh my God, this is the solution. Have you got a bit of spare change in it? I need to go to the airport, you know. They looked in their pockets. Good gracious, I don't even have enough to go on the bus myself. Okay, well, what shall we do? Well, Mother told you to go by bus? You go by bus. Okay, fine. I wait a bit longer. Third size yogi comes. We got a bit of spare money. They check their pockets. Good gracious, I don't have enough money for myself also. Three size yogis now, if you count me, all waiting for the bus to go to the airport without money. I thought, this is mad, we need to do something about it. And they told me, oh no, in Sahaj, this is not how it works. You don't worry about things, you just give it a bandhan. Really? And that's how you go on the bus without money? Yes, you just give it a bandhan. Alright? We gave it a bandhan. Suddenly, the guy one of the yogis goes berserk. He sees a taxi passing through. I know that guy. He stops the taxi, Then this guy is a good friend of my brother, he said. Okay, let's get in, we are lucky. What a miracle, We go on the taxi, they start talking. Oh my God, that was not the friend of his brother. Looks like. And in Portugal, you see, the taxi drivers, usually they have a cricket bat under the seat. If you don't pay the fare, you've had it, So I said, you see, we are going to die. One of us is going to die today. And they said, oh no, in Sahaj, you see, this is not how we do things. We just give it a bandhan. I said, really? So we gave lots of bandhan. You see, we had waited about 40 minutes on the bus stop, First me, then another yogi, then the taxi, We must have started about 40 minutes after Mother. We are going for our death now, you see. One of us is going to die, This is the day, And you arrive at the airport. Now what are we going to say? I said, shall we all run away? Each one in each direction, you see, because one of us might escape. He said, no, we just give it a bandhan, We have to have faith. We gave it another bandhan. The taxi stops. We looked to the car next door. It was the car of Shri Mataji. Inside the car there was a very rich doctor, He paid for the taxi. Dr. Rustam, He paid for the, there was really a close brush with death again. Many incidents, At the airport, Shri Mataji worked on a man who was going bald, and she rubbed some of the amla hair oil on the head of that man. I felt jealous, I was getting bald also, I wish Mother had given me a bit of that oil on my head, but I couldn't say it. Mother was about to leave, so Mother went, and then later on Maria Amelia comes back. Oh look, Mother gave you this bottle of amla oil for you, So Mother made it easy for us to see that even small thoughts, she knew everything. Can I say a story about on the subject of building? Once Shri Mataji said we were at Brompton Square. Brompton Square was virtually finished by then. It was 83, looking absolutely beautiful, all golden, very wonderful. And we noticed there was just one wall had not been wallpapered. So we had this idea, me and Antonio and another guy. Let's wallpaper this wall as a surprise for Mother. Mother said she was going to go to an international conference. That conference, she was going to leave about 3 o'clock. So, if you really do it fast, by the time Mother comes back, she said she would come back the next day, early morning. That gives us plenty of hours. Let's wallpaper that whole wall as a surprise to Mother. So we waited for Mother to go, We had this surprise prepared. Mother was looking beautiful, so beautifully dressed when she went to the international conference, and oh my goodness, we were really amazed, The Mother knew what we were thinking. We were just waiting for Mother to go so we could do the surprise, At last Mother left, at CP. Now we can decorate that wall. We started decorating the wall. 10 minutes later, Mother is back, CP would often forget some important documentation, This is quite common. And Mother caught us in the act, decorating the wall. So, what are you up to? Oh, well, we are decorating this wall. I see. Well, remember this, when you start something, it's not auspicious to leave it half done, so make sure you finish it. If you start it, then finish it. If you must, take plenty of coffee, drink as much coffee as you want, but finish that, And there's one more thing. Sir CP does not like a gap in between the wallpaper, you see. That looks very unprofessional. I'm sure you agree with that. When you put wallpaper, you mustn't leave a gap, So she said, not because of me, but because of CCP, make sure it looks professional, you know. Of course, you know, Antonio's a professional, you know, he's an artist. He would never leave a gap on the papers, neither us, you know. No, of course not, you know, no gaps, guaranteed. We finished the whole job by about 5 a.m., you know, and we double-checked, no gaps whatsoever. We went to sleep, then about 9 a.m., there's a ring on the bell. You know, we were all asleep, we were all exhausted, you know. You can hear the bell ringing. Oh my goodness. Well, I'll go and answer the door. It was Shri Mataji, actually. CCP had gone straight to work. Shri Mataji was at the door ringing the bell. She said, I wasn't sure whether to ring or not in case you were resting, you see, but I checked the vibrations, and on vibrations I felt that one of you at least must be awake, you know. Yes, Mother was right, I was awake, so Mother came in, you know. Mother didn't look very pleased, you know. We could feel there was something wrong, you see. Mother didn't say anything about wallpapering, and she went to bed. She got up at about midday, you know. We went to see Mother, you know, and Mother was a bit gloomy. And we thought, my goodness, Mother should be very pleased with this beautiful wallpapering we did, you know. Mother's really gloomy and sad, you know. And then we said, Mother, didn't you like the wallpapering? Of course I did, very much, you know. So what's the problem? What's RCP? So a very big gap on the wall, you know. That's not possible. We checked it 3 times. There is no gap whatsoever. Mother said, yes, I'm sorry, there is a gap on the wallpaper. Impossible. We checked it, you know. Absolutely not there. Shall I show you? So Mother stood up, went and showed us the gap. We look at the gap. Oh my God, what a gap on the wallpaper. I think it's called shrinkage. It shrank during the night or something. And really, we could have died that moment, all of us, you know. I said, don't worry about it, let's fix it, you know, with vibrations, you know, just push it. We didn't have faith for that, you know, so Mother started pushing the wallpaper, you know. And we were looking at Mother and I said, don't you help me, please? Are you just standing watching me pushing the paper? You push it too. So we all started pushing the wallpaper from all directions. The paper didn't budge a millimeter. I said, Mother, it's too late, it's totally dry now, overnight. There's nothing we can do, we'll strip it all and start again. No, you see, you don't get the point, you know. It's not you who pushes it, it's the vibrations that actually do it. Just push it, have some faith, you know. We pushed a bit more with Mother. We felt sorry for Mother. Mother was pushing the paper, never budged, nothing. You know. So we knew we have to have a big meal now and get lots of cups of tea and courage, and we have to strip the paper. So we did that. We had a big meal, big cups of tea. You know, well, let's do it now. We have to strip the whole thing off and start again. You arrived there, the wallpaper gap. Okay, where is the gap? Oh, it's here. No, not there. There. Where? Started looking, we couldn't find the gap. The gap was gone while we had lunch and a cup of tea. So the vibrations did it in the end, but not in front of our eyes. You know.
Any other miracles from
we need to change taste.
An interesting miracle at the airport, you know. Have you ever seen a man who is 7 foot tall? You know, his hips are about this wide, and then the back, you know, is even bigger. The size of his boots, you know, in a kind of uniform, you know, because he's a security man, you know. And so he was there one day, one of those guys, about 7 foot tall at least. What a big man! I've never seen a person like that. And he started shouting at people at the back, you know, move out of the way, everybody, you are blocking the traffic. Nobody reacted, for you would know that. Not emotion, you see. So he lost patience, you know, and he started pulling people out of the way, especially women with pushchairs. And the women were jumping in the air with the pushchairs, one to the left, one to the right. And he starts making his way to go towards Mother, because Mother was the source of the blockage. Mother was sitting there receiving flowers, you know. And they started shouting at Mother, please get out of the way, get out of there. So I went to speak to him, you know, very fast, you know, because I must tell this man, look, this lady is a very spiritual lady, you know, you must respect, you know. So I touched the arm, excuse me, sir, you know, that lady. Did you touch the uniform? He asked me. Yes, sir, I touched your uniform. I just wanted to tell you, excuse me, did you touch the uniform? Yes, I touched the uniform, you know, that lady, you know. Did you touch the uniform? I said, yes, I'm sorry, I touched the uniform, you know. Then he lifted his boot, you touched the uniform again, and your head will be under my foot. I was amazed, you know. Then I felt two people push me from the back, you know, and drag me to the back. These were some ladies, you know, they said, Louis, shut up, leave him alone. And they helped me. That's it, I couldn't do anything. The man carried on going all the way towards Mother, pushing people left and right, already a bit more calm. He arrived face to face to Mother, he looked at Mother, Mother gave him one glance, and the man did like this. Went round Mother and disappeared and ran away. All Mother did was look at him. A man that size, we were all afraid of him.
That reminds me of the fire. You remember you had a can of the burning off the paint in Brompton Square.
This terrible story.
Yeah, but I mean, I was there and I watched it, and the fire went just like that